What is up, everybody? Piscean here, bringing you the complete Ars Astrology, a technical guide to every practice, method, and concept compiled with genius rigor for this fine practitioner. Before we get started, please subscribe, like, comment, share if you dare and care. With peace and love. So, I'm just going to begin here with what you'd call like a preface, if you will. I didn't write that down. So astrology is not a single discipline, but a unified field of symbolic sciences that maps the fractal intelligence of the cosmos onto every domain of human experience. To wield its full power, the practitioner must master a latticework of interconnected systems, from the geometric purity of primary directions to the divinatory immediacy of horary, from the geological time of mundane cycles to the infinitesimal seed of the prenatal epoch. This guide is structured as a living encyclopedia, so each section is a portal to a distinct astrological practice, method, or concept, presented with the precision that the art demands. First, we're going to go over our philosophical and cosmological foundations here. So, before technique, the mind must be attuned to the axioms upon which the entire edifice stands. The soul matrix in the holographic principle. Consciousness is a non-local field, the anima mundi, that individuates through the celestial configuration at the moment of first breath. The natal chart is a holographic interference pattern. Every part contains the whole. Transits and progressions are the temporal unfolding of an eternal now. We have the four cosmic laws. As above, so below, macrocosm, microcosm. The sky is a mirror of the psyche and the world. The law of correspondence. Planets, signs, houses, and parts form an analogical chain. Mars equals Aries equals first house, equals iron, equals the musculature, equals the impulse to separate. The law of cyclic resonance. All phenomena unfold according to recurring geometrical relationships, aspects, harmonics that are archetypal in nature. The law of free will within fate. The chart reveals the field of karmic probability. Consciousness determines the quality of response to each archetypal pressure. Second, the ancient division of the chart into a diurnal, sun above the horizon, and nocturnal, sun below team. Sun, Jupiter, Saturn are diurnal sect leaders. Moon, Venus, Mars are nocturnal. Mercury is neutral. A planet out of sect struggles against its natural mode of expression. A planet in sect operates with the fundamental current of the chart. Next, I want to go over the celestial alphabet, fundamental building blocks. First, let's go over the zodiac, the 12-fold field of archetypal space, where we have our sign, our glyph, our modality, element, ruler, traditional, modern, esoteric ruler, polarity, and physiological correspondence. So, for example, Aries is cardinal, fire, Mars, Pluto, Mercury, positive, head, cerebrum, adrenal glands. Taurus is fixed, earth, Venus, earth, Vulcan, negative, throat, neck, thyroid, vocal cords. Gemini is mutable air, Mercury, Venus, positive lungs, shoulders, arms, nervous system. Cancer is cardinal, water, moon, Neptune, negative, stomach, breast, uterus, mucosa. Leo is fixed, fire, sun, positive, heart, spine, upper back, cardiac system. Virgo is mutable earth, Mercury, negative, intestines, pancreas, spleen, digestive assimilation. Libra is cardinal, air, Venus, positive, kidneys, lumbar region, skin, venous system. Scorpio is fixed, water, Mars, Pluto, negative, genitals, colon, prostate, nose. Sagittarius is mutable fire, Jupiter, positive, hips, thighs, liver, sciatic nerve. Capricorn is cardinal, Earth, Saturn, negative, knees, bones, teeth, gallbladder. Aquarius is fixed, air, Saturn, Uranus, positive, shins, ankles, circulatory system, electrical body. Pisces is mutable, water, Jupiter, Neptune, negative, feet, lymphatics, pineal gland, immune system. We have our sign signatures here. So your polarity players. Each sign is a reaction formation of its opposite. So Aries Libra is the self versus the other. Mastery lies in the integration of the axes. Quadruplicities or modalities. Cardinal is initiative, crises. Fixed is stabilization. Resistance is mutable. Fixed is stabilization and resistance. And mutable is adaptation and dispersion. So let's actually color code that. Fixed is stabilization, resistance. Mutable is adaptation and dispersion. Alright, triplicities, elements. Fire is your intuition, spirit. Earth is your sensation, your form. Air is your intellect, your relation. And water is your feeling and your soul. Alright? Now let's look at the planets. Archetypal functions of the soul. The planet, dignity, domicile, exaltation, detriment, fall, orb lights, mean daily motion, and cyclic period. So for example, the Sun, Leo, Aries, Aquarius, Libra, 15 degrees through 17 degrees, 5908 in 1 year return. So what does this mean? Well, this is the planet. This is its dignity. So let's just say it's dig. And its exaltation is Aries, so we'll say exal. Its detriment is Aquarius, so we'll say detri. And then its fall is Libra, so we'll say its fall. And then its orb lights as well as its MDM, mean daily motion. And then we have its cyclic period. So, moving on, we see with the moon, Cancer is its dignity. Its exaltation is Taurus. Its detriment is Capricorn. Its fall is Scorpio. Its orb of 12 degrees through 15 degrees. And 27.3 days side rail for its sick period. Its MDM is 13 degrees 10. Mercury, Gemini, Virgo, right? So we know its dignity is Virgo. And it has issues in Sagittarius and Pisces. (116 days synodic). And then we would keep going on to Venus, Taurus and Libra, Pisces, Scorpio and Aries is struggling, and is struggling in Virgo. 584 days synodic. Alright. Mars does really well in Aries and Scorpio and Capricorn. It doesn't do so hot in Libra, Taurus, or Cancer. 780 days synodic. Jupiter. It's curating Sagittarius, Pisces, and is exalted in Cancer, fallen in Gemini and Virgo, and not doing hot in Capricorn at all. 12-year side rail. Saturn, Capricorn, Aquarius curated. Alright. Libra, Saturn in Cancer, and Leo is not doing so good, and in Aries it's absolutely causing mayhem. 29.5 years side rail. Uranus, Aquarius, Scorpio, Leo is not very good in Leo. Neptune, Pisces, Cancer, and you do not want to have Neptune in Virgo, 165 years. Pluto is 248 years, curated Scorpio, and doesn't do very good in Taurus. Alright. Now we look at the fourfold nature of each planet. We see the physical, the literal object in space, its mass, orbital period. Functional, the psychological principle. So Mars equals assertion, separation, and desire. Dignified expression, how the function unfolds when in essential dignity. Mars in Aries is direct, courageous, and shadow expression, the distorted manifestation when debilitated. Mars in Taurus is stubborn, repressed rage. Now let's look at the houses. The 12 fields of terrestrial experience. So houses are derived from the Earth's rotation, grounding planetary energy in the native's immediate life. The sign on the cusp is the doorway. The planet in the house is the inhabitant. So we're going to look at the house, the traditional name, primary domain, and angularity, as well as the modern keyword. So for example, the first house is our life, body, and spirit. Physical constitution, outward personality, the self's production. Angular, the home. The second house is substance, livelihood, money, possessions, value, self-esteem, succident, the treasury. Third house is brothers, short journeys, siblings, communication, lower mind, local environment. Cadent, the scriptorium. Fourth house is parents, home, land, father or mother, roots, private self, end of life, real estate, angular, the underworld throne. The fifth house is children, pleasure, creativity, romance, speculation, play, and teaching. It's succident, the stage. The sixth house is illness, servants, daily work, health, hygiene, pets, employee, service. It's cadent, it's a workshop. Seventh house is marriage, open enemies, partnerships, contracts, litigation, the other, angular, the mirror. The eighth house is death, other people's money, transformation, inheritance, sexuality, the occult, shared resources. It's succident, the alchemical vessel. The ninth house is long journeys, religion, higher mind, philosophy, law, foreign travel, publishing. It's cadent, the observatory. The 10th house is action, reputation, career, public status, mother or father, honor, vocation, angular, and the summit. The 11th house is friends, hopes, social network, groups, gains, future aspirations, is succident, and the circle. And the 12th house is enemies, self-undoing, karma, isolation, institutions, the unconscious, spirituality, hidden enemies. It's cadent, it's the labyrinth. Onto our house systems, we have whole sign houses, which are the most ancient. Literally the entire sign becomes the house regardless of degree of the ascendant, essential for foundational life topics. And this is primarily Western. And then you have your equal house, which is each house exactly 30 degrees, starting at the ascendant degree. You got your quadrant systems, Placidus, Koch, Regiomontanus, Porphyry, and Campanus, which pretty much link houses to the angles by spatial or temporal trisection. Placidus, the most common, uses diurnal semi-arcs and veils at extreme latitudes. So you can use whole sign as the primary, Placidus for psychological nuances. In our primary directive for genius, cast a triple wheel. Whole sign for archetypal domains, Placidus for temporal experience, and Koch for evolutionary soul trajectory. And now we have our aspects. So aspects are the angles between 2 points measured in celestial longitude. They are categorized by their harmonic class, which reveals the quality of interaction. So we can see here we're going to go over the aspect, the angle, harmonic, orbalites, quality, and formula. For example, a conjunction, right? Well, it's 0 degrees at its angle. It's in the first harmonic. The orb lights up 8 through 10 degrees. Quality of the sun and the moon. And the formula here is intensification, fusion, and unity. With an opposition, what do we see? Its angle is 180 degrees. It's in the second harmonic, with the orb lights 8 through 10 degrees as well, bringing awareness through polarity and production. Moving on, we see our trine is 120 degrees, and it's in the third harmonic. Alright. And its orb lights up around 8 degrees with inherent talent, harmony, and inertia. Square is 90 degrees angle. The fourth harmonic, 7 through 8 degrees orb, dynamic tension, manifestation, and crisis. Alright, our quintile is 72 degrees at that angle. Fifth harmonic, 2 through 3 degrees, creative intelligence, pattern style. Our sextile is 60 degrees at an angle, sixth harmonic, 6 degrees of an orb, opportunity, communication, stimulus. Our subtile, 51 degrees 25 in the seventh harmonic, lighting up around 1.5 through 2 degrees, destined inspiration, numinous timing. Our semi-square, 45 degrees angle, 8th harmonic, irritation, minor friction. We have our novile, 40 degrees angle, 9th harmonic, ceremonial initiation, gestation. As well as our decile, 36 degrees, 10th harmonic, mastery, ordered skill. Our quincunx in conjunct, 150 degrees, 12th harmonic, adjustment, dissonance, health, and our semi-sextile. So 30 degrees angle, 12th harmonic, adjacent tension, subtle choice. Alright, moving on to aspect classification. We have our partile versus platic. So essentially, partile is exact by degree, within 1 degrees. Platic is by wider or based on the planet's total moiety. So applying versus separating them, this is very important. Applying aspects are in the process of exactitude, so future-oriented building, while separating or moving apart, so past culmination and releasing. Dexter versus sinister. In traditional astrology, a dexter aspect, right hand in the order of signs, is stronger for some judgments. And our essential rigor is to always assess aspects by sign and house first. A square from the 10th to the 1st is profoundly different from a square from the 12th to the 9th, even if both are 90 degrees exact. The houses ground the geometry. The ephemeris and calculation, the engine room of time. So the ephemeris is the astrologer's primary instrument. All right. An accurate chart isn't possible without precise planetary positions. The ephemeris table records daily longitudes as well as declinations and often latitudes at 0000 UT or noon with the key data including the date, planet longitudes, and lunar nodes, as well as retrograde direct stations, RD, and ingress times. Here's our primary calculation flow for our natal chart. First, we need to obtain the exact birth time, date, and location, latitude, longitude, time zone, DST status. Then we're going to convert to universal time, UT. We'll proceed to calculate sidereal time at birth, ST equals GST at midnight, and UT correction, as well as longitude equivalent. Using the ST, interpolate house cusps from a table of houses, for example Placidus, for the birth latitude. Then extract planetary longitudes from the ephemeris for the birth date and UT, applying proportional logarithm interpolation for the exact hour. Compute declinations and parallels. Calculate the part of fortune and other Arabic parts if desired. Here's our high precision interpolation here. For our planetary positions between midnight ephemeris entries, we can use the daily motion to find the exact longitude with this formula. For the moon, whose speed varies significantly, we can use second differences or a more sophisticated interpolation from an hourly ephemeris. Declination and latitude. Declination. Celestial latitude measured from the celestial equator. Planets at the same declination form a parallel, an orb of 1 degree, acting as a mild conjunction. Contraparallel, same declination, opposite sign, acts as a mild opposition. Ecliptic latitude, distance north or south of the ecliptic. The moon's true nodes are the points where the moon crosses the ecliptic, latitude 0 degrees. Out of bounds planets, declination greater than 23 degrees 27, operate with extreme unconventional energy. Natal chart interpretation, the soul's blueprint. Interpretation is the synthesis of all symbolic factors into a coherent narrative of the individual's life and psyche. This is my genius level 10-step synthesis protocol. First step, sect and overall temperament. Determine diurnal, nocturnal. Observe the sun's sign and house, the moon's phase, and the predominance of elements and modalities to deduce the constitutional temperament. Choleric, sanguine, melancholic, phlegmatic. The soul's purpose, the sun, moon, ascendant triad. The sun is the conscious will and heroic journey. The moon is the instinctual inherited soul body. The ascendant is the incarnation mass, the point of emergence. The relationship among them reveals a core tension. For example, sun in Cancer, moon in Aries is a nurturing hero driven by a fiery emotional core. The prenatal lunation, new or full moon before birth, seeds the entire life narrative. The ruler of the ascendant. The lord of the first house, its sign, house placement, and aspects describe how the native navigates life. A dignified, angular ruler shows a strong, self-governed life, while a cadent, debilitated ruler indicates a soul that must learn to assert itself indirectly. The planetary dispensator chain. Trace the final dispositor, the planet that ultimately rules all others through domicile chains. If all planets ultimately trace back to one, that planet is the chart's king and dominates the psyche. If a loop exists, the soul is self-contained with no ultimate external authority. Essential and accidental dignity assessment. So, score every planet using the Lilly-Ptolemy table. Identify the most fortified planet, the Almuten, and the most debilitated, the Shadow Gate. The Almuten indicates an area of natural strength. The debilitated planet points to the necessary work. The house topography. Map planet placements by house. Angular planets shout. Succedent planets consolidate. Cadent planets whisper but may be deeply wise. The house containing the lot of fortune is the area of spontaneous abundance. The aspect grid and harmonics. Evaluate the aspect pattern. Is it a bowl, bucket, seesaw, splash, bundle, locomotive, or splay? Each reveals a psychic distribution of energy. Identify the tightest aspect. It is the heart of the chart's tension or gift. Compute harmonic charts. 5th harmonic for creativity, 7th for destiny, to reveal hidden talents. Fixed stars and sensitive points. Check conjunctions to major fixed stars, Regulus, Spica, Algol, etc., and the irregular parts. Fortune, spirit, eros, death, etc. A star on the ascendant or the moon marks the native with a permanent stellar seal. Lunar nodes, the karmic axis. So the south node Ketu is ingrained patterns and gifts from the past. The north node Rahu is the evolutionary edge. The unfamiliar territory. The house and sign axis reveals the karmic migration. Synthesis and the master narrative. All of the above coalesce into a single story. The chart is a sentence written in planetary glyphs, and you can read it aloud to understand it better. Alright, special interpretive techniques. We're going to start off with decan and duad subdivisions. Each sign divided into 10 degrees, decan, and 2.5 degrees, duad sections, sub-ruled by specific planets. The Sun at 17 degrees Gemini is not just Mercury ruled, but is in an Aquarius decan, Saturn, and a Libra duad, Venus. This adds 3 layers of nuance. Planetary phase relationships. The angular separation between 2 planets reveals a dynamic. For example, the Mercury-Venus cycle. If Mercury is ahead of Venus in zodiacal order, the mind leads the heart. If behind, the heart leads the mind. The phase at birth defines the archetypal dialogue. The prenatal epoch, Tritune of Hermes, a method to verify and rectify the ascendant by using the lunar cycle before birth. The moon's position at the moment of conception, approximately 273 days before birth, is linked to the natal ascendant or its opposite, a mathematically rigorous process that can pinpoint the birth moment to within seconds. Eberton's cosmobiology, or midpoints. The halfway point between any 2 planets is a sensitive trigger zone. The transit to the Sun-Moon midpoint activates the core relationship. 90 degrees dial sorts midpoints into an 8th harmonic structure, used with 1 degrees orb. Predictive astrology, the unfolding of the natal promise. So, prediction is the art of timing the release of the natal potential through layers of directional and cyclic mechanisms. Let's talk about transits, the current sky triggering the natal. So, essentially, transits are the daily movements of planets over sensitive natal points. They provide the immediate psychological and circumstantial weather. We have our key transit rules, such as for outer planets, Jupiter through Pluto. They mark generational and deep personal shifts. But inner planets, like the Sun through Mars, are providing daily triggers. Alright? A transit is most potent when the transiting planet turns retrograde and stations exactly on the natal point. 3 passes. And always consider the house that the transiting planet is moving through. That area of life is activated. The Saturn return, starting at age 29.5, and Uranus opposition at age 42 are cornerstones. Transit aspect orbs. So for slow planets, use a 1 degrees applying and a 1 degree separating orb. For the moon, a few hours. We have the cycle of eclipses. Eclipses activate the nodal axes in the houses they fall on. A solar eclipse near a natal planet signals a pivotal new beginning, while a lunar eclipse culminates in emotional crises. The pseudo-cycle family of the eclipse carries a thematic signature. Oops. Let's do this. I open my window. It's so fucking hot in here. My apartment, it's literally boiling. Okay. I am back. I use the bathroom too. My stomach hurts. Holy shit. Bad idea to drink coffee at 12 in the morning. Don't do it. Holy shit. And then Gatorade too. Terrible mistake. Anyways, so secondary progressions, a day for a year. Now the inner evolution of the psyche, where one day after birth equals 1 year of life. This is the soul's clock, alright? Specifically with our calculations, progressed planets are moved by their actual daily motion. Only the personal planets, the Sun, the Moon, Mercury, Venus, and Mars, move enough to change sign and house within a lifetime. And we have our key progressed phenomena, such as a progressed lunar phase. The progressed moon returns to its natal phase every 27 years. The progressed new moon marks a major 30-year chapter. The 8 phases delineate the rhythm of the emotional and creative cycles. We have progressed moon ingress. Progressed moon changes sign every 2.5 years, shifting the emotional backdrop. The final 2 degrees of a sign is a period of culmination. The first 2 degrees is a fresh initiation. Progressed sun changing sign. It actually happens only 3 times at most, marks a radical shift in identity and life direction. Progressed aspects to the natal. Progressed moon to natal angles planets times emotional events within a month. The progressed lunation chart. We cast for the moment the progressed moon conjoins the progressed sun. It is valid for 30 years. Mixing transits and progressions. A transit will not fully manifest unless it is mirrored by a corresponding progression or direction. So for example, a transiting Jupiter square natal sun brings opportunity only if progressed Mercury is simultaneously aspecting something. Alright, primary directions, the ancient royal art of time. And this is actually the most precise timing technique used by Ptolemy and Placidus. The Earth's rotation on its axis directs every point in the chart at approximately 1 degree per year, the Nabob measure. All points, the midheaven, ascendant, planets, and lots, are moved by the same arc of right ascension. The classical measure is a key of Ptolemy. 1 degree of right ascension equals 1 year of life. And we have our calculation essentials here. Essentially, we convert all natal longitudes and house cusps to the right ascension using the obliquity of the ecliptic. we had the arc of direction, where Nabod equals 0 degrees 5908 per year, the sun's mean daily motion. And then we convert back to zodiacal longitude. Aspects formed between directed and natal points, especially conjunctions to angles timed to the month. Alright, our mundane conjunctions. This is when a directed planet crosses a house cusp. A profound life chapter shift occurs. Alright. The direction of the ascendant to a planet is the most personal event. One meets that planetary archetype face to face. And we have our symbolic directions. Solar arc. A simplified ecliptical version where all points are directed by the progressed sun's arc. Effective, though slightly less precise. Alright, solar and lunar return charts. This is the year and month in a chart. So like the solar return, you can cast for the exact moment the transiting sun returns to its natal position. The house placement of the SR ascendant, midheaven, and the sun and their aspects describe the year's theme. Precess the SR chart by relocating it to the native's current location. Lunar return, we can cast for the moon's return monthly. The lunar return ascendant reveals the emotional agenda for the month. And our return chart synthesis. We can overlay the return chart with the natal. Planets on the angles in the return are major triggers. The return's planetary ruler of the ascendant is the guide for that period. Alright. Profections, the ancient yearly activator. A Hellenistic Time Lord system that activates a new natal house and its ruler each birthday. On each birthday, the ascendant advances one whole sign. The sign becomes the profected first house for that year. The lord of that sign becomes the time lord of the year. Alright? Annual profections. So for example, age 1 equals the second house, age 2 equals the third house, age 12 equals the first house again. For monthly profections, the ascendant advances one sign per month from the annual profected ascendant. The planetary ruler of that month is the monthly Time Lord, giving a 30-day focus. And transits involving the Time Lord are the most significant events of the year. For Daria, Persian planetary periods. A fixed sequence of planetary periods with subperiods derived from a native sect. So the sequence goes the Sun, 10 years, the Venus, 8, Mercury, 13, the Moon, 9, Saturn, 11, Jupiter, 12, Mars, 7, Rahu, 3, Ketu, 2. Diurnal charts start with the Sun. And nocturnal charts start with the Moon. The sequence then proceeds in the same order. Subperiods. Within each major period, the planets distribute their years proportionally. Interpretation. The Fardar ruler sets the entire backdrop of a multi-year phase. Transits to it or from it dominate. Alright, the zodiacal releasing, or the hermetic law-based timing. So from the Lot of Fortune and Lot of Spirits, this technique releases periods activated by signs, applying a complex algorithm of minor periods, 2.5 degrees of rising time per year. It precisely pinpoints peak periods of career from spirit and life events from fortune. The peak periods are those where the releasing sign is a light, sun-moon sign, or an angular sign. Horary astrology, the divinatory sword. Horary answers a specific burning question by casting a chart for the moment the astrologer understands the query. The radicality check. The chart must be fit to be judged. Key strictures: ascendant between 0 degrees through 3 degrees too early, or 27 degrees through 30 degrees too late of a sign. Moon, VOC, no more major aspects before leaving sign, unless the question is about something trivial. Saturn in the 7th, unless the astrologer is the querent, and a lack of essential connection between the querents and quisitids. I don't know why I can't even speak. The significators. Alright? Significator assignment is querent being the lord of the ascendant and moon, and the other person is the lord of the house ruling the matter. For example, the 7th for marriage and the 10th for job. Co-significators as needed. The moon is always co-significator of the action. The aspects tell the story, because an applying aspect with reception between significators brings a yes, prohibition, frustration, or refination denies. The type of aspect, trine equals easy, square equals with difficulty, describes the manner of the outcome. Translation and collection of light. A faster planet separating from one significator and applying to the other translates the matter, bringing a third party to complete it. Collection occurs when both significators apply to a slower third planet, which gathers their light. So, if someone's asking a question, hopefully their significator is in its own sign, strong, reliable, but in fall detriment, it is compromised, so the moon in the Via Combusta from 15 degrees Libra to 15 degrees Scorpio indicates a turbulent, often unfavorable process. And the 4th house, the planet on the 4th cusp or its ruler, shows the final outcome. Onto electional astrology. Election is the proactive art of choosing an auspicious moment to initiate an event, a marriage, business launch, surgery, or journey, by aligning the celestial chart with the desired outcome. So, our principle of sympathetic magic. The chart of the event becomes its natal chart, okay? Therefore, fortify the house ruling the event and its lord while guarding the angles. The cardinal triad, strengthen the ascendant, its ruler, in the moon. The moon is the engine. Never let the moon be VOC in the Via Combusta or severely afflicted. Place it in a sign fitting the purpose, for example, Capricorn for a conservative business. Fortifying the house. Make the sign on the cusp fixed if you desire permanence, okay? Cardinal for rapid action. Place a benefic Jupiter or Venus in the house or aspecting its cusp. Avoid a malefic on the cusp unless it is the matter's natural ruler and dignified. The critical rule of dignity, okay? Ensure the planetary significators are essentially and accidentally dignified. A well-dignified Mercury for a contract signing, a strong Venus for a wedding. And lunar mansions, for example, elect under the 1st mansion 0 degrees Aries for sowing discord, or avoid it for a peace treaty. The 15th mansion, 15 degrees Libra, aids digging wells and finding treasure. Planetary hour, always elect during the planetary hour of the planet that rules the undertaking. So, for example, Jupiter hour for a spiritual lecture, Mars hour for a competition. This seals the election with the immediate celestial current. Alright, mundane astrology. Essentially, mundane maps the fate of nations, governments, weather, and economic tides. We have great conjunctions, right? Jupiter-Saturn conjunctions marking historical epochs. The occurrence in a triplicity signals a 200-year elemental era. And now we have our grand air era that we're in right now. The precessional alignment with Pluto amplifies generational shifts. Aries ingress, spring equinox chart. The astrological new year, cast for the capital of a nation. It rules a year. The house placement of the sun, the chart's ascendant, and planetary angularity predict the national focus. Malefics and angles spell crises. Eclipse is a mundane. The path of totality of a solar eclipse carves a zone of upheaval. The nations under its shadow experience marked events. Lunar eclipses affect areas where they are angular. Planetary cycles and economic astrology. Jupiter-Saturn cycle correlates with the boom-bust business cycle. The 8-year Venus cycle time shifts in cultural values and markets. 36-year Saturn-Uranus square-to-square cycle triggers technological revolutions, alright? The Kondratiev wave mirrors the Saturn-Neptune cycle. Astrocartography and mundane. A nation's Sibley chart, which is the foundation chart, relocated to the coordinates of a conflict zone, shows how the event resonates with the nation's core identity. Astrocartography and local space, the geographical soul. The relocation of the chart onto the surface of the Earth reveals where planetary archetypes become activated. So, for example, our ACG lines for every planet, there are 4 angular lines where that planet is on the ascendant, descendant, MC, or IC at the moment of birth. So living on a Jupiter ascendant line brings expansion and confidence, but on a Saturn MC line, a career of weight and isolation. Parans, where 2 planetary lines cross at the same latitude, a paran occurs. A Jupiter-Venus paran is a latitude of artistic abundance, while a Mars-Pluto paran is a vortex of power and violence. Alright, local space relocation. It's a chart cast for a new location. It shows how the native's life themes shift. Relocated ascendant alters the entire house emphasis. Moving to put Jupiter on a relocated MC is a classic tactic. In geodetic equivalents, the astrological sign map onto the globe using a fixed geodetic grid. For example, sidereals. Each location has a sign and degree that acts as its permanent celestial fingerprint. Alright, medical astrology. The celestial anatomy. And we actually just made a video about this, specifically medical astrology. We're going to go over that, as well as esoteric, evolutionary, karmic astrology. And then I want to give a synthesis of relationships, synastry, and composite, as well as go over rectification. And specialized branches and advanced concepts. So medical astrology, right? The ancient iatro mathematica that diagnoses constitutional predispositions, disease timing, and treatment. The anatomical man, or Homo signorum, alright? Aries rules the head, Taurus rules the neck, etc. The 6th house, its ruler, and the moon describe acute illness, while the 8th house chronic and terminal. Planetary pathologies. Mars is inflammations, fevers, accidents. Saturn is obstructions, decay, and depression. Mercury is nervous disorders. Moon is fluid imbalances, emotional upheavals. Jupiter is liver, excess. Venus is kidneys, venereal. Decumbiture chart. A horary cast for the moment the patient took to bed. The ascendant is the patient. The 7th is the disease. The moon's aspects show the crisis points in the illness. And electional surgery. Elect a time when the moon is not in the sign ruling the body part being operated on, and not VOC. Avoid Mars afflicting the ascendant or the bodily sign. Favorable moon and fixed signs for lasting repair. And herbal correspondences. Each planet rules a pharmacy of planets. Sun herbs, rosemary, St. John's wort for cardiac vitality. Moon herbs, chamomile, melissa for stomach soothing. Saturn herbs, comfrey, hemlock for bone knitting and pain. Used with extreme caution. Alright, esoteric, evolutionary, and karmic astrology. Well, the soul's journey over multiple incarnations, read through the natal map. So the esoteric rulers, each sign has a conventional esoteric and hierarchical ruler. For Aries, Mars rules the personality, Mercury the soul, and Uranus the monad. Using esoteric rulers on the soul level chart reveals the disciple's path. Evolutionary astrology. The Pluto polarity point. The point opposite natal Pluto defines the soul's evolutionary intention. The Ketu of the moon and its ruler depict accumulated past life patterns. The Rahu and its ruler show the growth edge. Planetary aspects of the nodes describe how this journey unfolds. Harmonic charts. So the 9th harmonic, Navamsa, is the chart of the soul's dharma and the marriage partner, while the 12th harmonic reveals the subconscious and past life residue, and the 5th harmonic maps the creative genius. The Draconic chart is calculated by setting the moon's north node to 0 degrees Aries. This chart is said to reveal the soul's purpose and karmic intention before incarnation. Aspects between the natal and draconic charts show the connection between the temporal personality and the eternal self. Synastry and composite is the alchemy of two charts interacting. So synastry is chart overlay. You can superimpose one chart onto the other with the key interactions, cross aspects between personal planets, Sun-Moon conjunction, and the classic marriage bond. One person's planets falling to the other's angular houses, especially the 1st, 4th, 7th, or 8th. Saturn contacts. The glue that binds or the wall that separates. A Saturn-Venus interaspect indicates a long-term commitment, for better or worse. Nodal and vertex contacts. Feelings of fate. The composite chart is the midpoint of two charts cast as a single entity. The relationship is a third being. Composite sun sign describes the relationship's identity. The composite moon, its emotional atmosphere. And the composite ascendant is how the world sees the couple. Transits to the composite chart time, critical developments in the relationship. And the Davison relationship chart cast for the midpoint in time and space between the two births. More precisely rooted in actual astronomical spacetime, yields similar but distinct insights. On to rectification, finding the true birth moment. When the birth time is unknown or approximate, rectification uses life events to reverse engineer the ascendant. The tritime of Hermes, or prenatal epoch. As mentioned, use the moon-ascendant relation at conception to narrow down the time. It requires trial of multiple potential epochs. Primary directions of life events. Compile a list of 10 through 15 major life events, marriages, births, accidents, career shifts. Cast charts for approximate times and direct the angles to form exact aspects with natal planets at the moment of each event. A correct birth time yields a tight hit for all events. Solar arc directed angles. Directed ascendant, midheaven conjoining planets for the exact date of a marriage or a move in the anti-modar method. An ancient technique using the degree of the prenatal lunation and the ruler of the moon at the time of birth to compute the ascendant degree with high precision. Specialized branches and advanced concepts. Vocational astrology is to focus on the 10th house, its ruler, the moon's nose, the lot of spirit, and any planets in the 6th. Strongly placed Saturn suggests a career built over time. A Uranian signature points to sudden shifts and technology. Midpoints and the Sun-Moon midpoint structure are essential. Financial astrology. The 2nd house, its ruler, Jupiter, Venus, and Pluto. The 8th house for investment and debt. Jupiter-Pluto cycles time massive wealth accumulations or crashes. The horary chart of the first trade incorporation. Of a company acts as its financial ladle. Weather and seismic astrology study the lunar phases, declination, and planetary latitude extremes. The 4th house in a lunar ingress chart represents the weather. Mars-Saturn aspects correlate with seismic activity when they are in Earth signs and angular in a solar ingress. Vedic Dasha systems, the Vimshottari Dasha, 120-year planetary period sequence, is the premier predictive system of Jyotish rooted in the moon's nakshatra at birth. Interplanetary subperiods, bhuktis, provide razor-sharp timing. Astrological magic and talismans elect a time when the planet is essentially dignified, rising, or culminating, unafflicted, and in its own planetary hour. Engrave its image and symbols on a metal corresponding to it. The talisman holds the celestial virtue. And the 90-degree dial in Uranian astrology. Hamburg's cool techniques using midpoints, planetary pictures, and hypothetical planets, Cupido, Hades, Zeus, etc. The dial collapses the 360-degree circle into 90 degrees and 22.5 degree segments, revealing symmetry patterns, for example, A plus B subtracting C equals D, that describe specific events, highly precise, used mainly in forensic and advanced predictive work. If you've completed this video, thank you so much. I really, really appreciate you. I'm so grateful, and I hope you have a great rest of your day, evening, whatever it may be. I'll see you in the next one. Piscean out.